What is up, guys? It's Silver here, and I'm here to finally answer all the questions from the previous video. So I left it up for a few days and waited for the comments to slowly stop coming in, and then I decided to make the video private. So now I've got screenshots of all the questions, and I'm just going to go through them and give the answers. So I'm going to read off the names, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name, which is it's going to happen. I'm not very good with names, and sometimes they're hard to say. So I have avoided posting multiple or answering multiple questions, so if you ask something that someone else has already asked, it's not going to be included. It may or may not if I mess up and cover the same question multiple times. But yeah, so I'm just going to get started here. So the first one is by Hikaru, I'm guessing that's the name. 5040 asks quite a few questions and says I can pick and choose, but I might as well just go through them all. So first off, what is your age? I'm 21. I was born in 1994. Do you have a job? Yes, I work at a second-hand store. Do you still play for SRL? That's kind of up and about. I don't really. It's hard to explain. I took a break to focus more on speedruns for a marathon that that had come up, and then I just haven't kind of gotten back into playing seriously since then. And I kind of don't know what I'm going to do, if I want to go back to SRL or not. I don't know. It's still in the air. What is/was your role on the team? Well, I'm not really one to believe in roles in this game because unlike other games where there's medics and stuff, there isn't that kind of stuff in Splatoon. But I'd say I was more like a defensive support since I used the Octobrush. I was mostly the person that used weapons with beacons. But I guess that's the only form of support that this game can have. So I guess support. How much time have you been playing Splatoon? Probably close to over 1,500 hours at this point, I think. Do you have a Twitch? Yes. In the description of every single video, I have a link to my Twitch account and my Twitter. So if you want to check the description of this video, you can find those. But basically, you can find it at twitch.tv/mhfsilver. I won't really stream Splatoon because I get disconnects if I do that. What do I think of the Aerospray PG? Giving that thing burst bomb and Kraken didn't save it. It's not going to be really good and competitive. I've seen people use it in tournaments, and it just doesn't go well for them. There wasn't much to do to save that weapon, to be honest. The 5-hit kill just destroys it. What do I think of the Grim Blaster? It's really good. Burst bomb and using an indirect shot is just completely powerful, and it's probably one of the dangerous combos in the game. What do I think of the Perma Brush? I actually have a whole video talking about that weapon when it came out months back. A link to that will be in the description if you're curious. What do I think the H3s would be better with Disruptor Kraken? I think the Cherry H3 is about as good as it gets, honestly. That's a really powerful kit, and it's, the H3 actually has the range of the 96, now has the splash wall and has a bubbler. And with despite not having the Kraken, if you're accurate with the H3, a bubbler is still just as dangerous to have. Do I hack my gear? Yes, actually. I was one of the testers for Splat Hacks. So a lot of the features you see in Splat Hacks, if you use it, are some of the things that I and some other people have suggested to be put into it. But I was one of the original testers for the program. If so, why? Well, like I said, I was the tester. I helped make sure that the thing functioned. It wasn't going to break everything. Do I think ink mines are viable? Nope, not at all. What weapon would I buff? I would want to buff the Squelchers. They do so little damage. They just need some form of damage buff to make it, somewhat usable. What weapon would I nerf? I don't know. Pretty much anything that I wanted to nerf has been nerfed at this point. I guess the only other thing was maybe reduce the blast radius of the Luna. I don't know. Anything other than that. Are there weapons that are good in solo queue ranked but aren't viable in a competitive environment? Not really. I mean, it's hard to say because if you can be good in solo ranked, then you can technically be good in a tournament setting, because it's actually the inverse of that would be more a more acceptable question, because solo ranked you don't have the advantage of having communication. So when you include that communication, if you're already good with something that's in solo ranked, adding communication and the team coordination just makes it even better. What is my favorite ability? Probably, I really like Ninja Squid, to be honest. What is my least favorite ability? I guess Bomb Sniffer. Even with the buff to that, they didn't make that thing useful at all. Oh, answer with only stackable abilities. I guess, I don't know. There isn't really like too much that I dislike. I guess like the only abilities I dislike are ones that can't be stacked. Um, yeah. Well, he asked for stackable and non-stackable. If it's stackable, probably swim speed I like is the most. Yeah. So that's all for his questions. Next is TSC Josh. Are you still on SRL? Answered that in the previous one. Will you ever change your language back to English? Probably eventually. I don't know. I wanted the change of pace since I've been playing the game in English for over a year. Can I be your friend? If you mean like adding me on my friends list, I'm already at 100 friends, and if Nintendo was good, they would remove that. Um, yeah, I'd like to be friends with a lot of people, but Nintendo puts a cap on it for some reason. So, XD Ross, can you walk me through how to change a language? I'm not going to make a tutorial myself. However, if you want to read the tutorial that I followed, a link to that will be in the description as well, along with how to do everything, obviously. So I'm not going to do it myself, as there might be a chance in the future that it become bannable, and I'd rather not be held responsible for that. So yeah. CyberDude79, any questions? Okay, I main the Octobrush, and I'm on a competitive team. I'm also S+. I've recently been wanting to pick up the Permabrush and Bento. Any tips? The Perma Ink Brush needs a bit more damage up than the Octobrush. An ideal amount of damage up for the Octobrush is about 2 mains, or 1 main, 3 subs, or 6 subs, something like that. The Ink Brush will need a few more. I use about 3 mains myself, and a bit more swim speed. Also, because it has a bomb, maybe some Ink Saber sub would be more useful. As for Bento, I don't know. I don't really use chargers, so I have no idea. I've never actually messed with that thing. GQ is a 1. What main weapon and sub need a buff the most, and what would you give it? Like I said, the Squelchers need a buff. Like, they need to do more damage. And then a sub, Ink Mines. Ink Mines need remote detonation for that thing to even be considered viable. Let's be real. What teams have you been on besides SRL, and what brought you to SRL? Asked for by Riptide1234. I've been on one other team besides SRL, and that was a team called 8-Bit Squids, ran by my friend Cody. And what brought me to SRL was the fact that it was a team made by my friends that I had known for years, and I wanted to play with them more than I wanted to play with people that I didn't know. Do you use motion controls, and which sensitivity? Asked by Hero Man. For pretty much everything I use +5 sensitivity. If I'm using a charger for whatever reason, I dumb it down to +2, because that way I'm actually able to hit the flick shots. Mikaru asks, what's the most annoying weapon to fight in your opinion? Carbon rollers. Carbon rollers kill in 12 frames. It's faster than most any weapon in that game. And so just having that massive, like, that really fast kill speed, and then for some reason I'm very bad at escaping them. Peach Daisy, what are your thoughts on the game's current netcode impacts to competitive play? Do you think TO should be quicker to disqualify high latency players? Should the game be replayed when losing teams complains about high latency? Well, the netcode really affects it. There's a lot of times where weapons are able to kill through specials simply because of the latency and lag the player may have. It's just unavoidable. Nintendo hasn't been very good when it comes to making online games, and unfortunately that hasn't changed at all. Do I think TO should be quicker to disqualify? Yeah, kinda. There's TOs that make rules about handling lag, and every time that another tournament comes up, they seem to have adjusted the rules about lag to please one team or another. And so they've changed the lag rules so much that it's irritating. And should a match be replayed if there's complaints about high latency? No. If there's like a disconnect, I would think that would be a good enough reason for a replay. Sometimes some tournaments have a thing where if someone's internet is too bad, you can ask for a replay, but you only get like one replay throughout the whole thing, so it's not really worth it. Jacques Gordon, I hope I spelled that right, or pronounced that right. Have you ever save scummed gear? So what gear have you scummed? I never save scummed. I was too lazy and didn't have enough time to do that. It was a long process and I just didn't feel like doing it. So until gear editing came out, I just didn't bother. I just re-rolled everything. Caleb Nuttall, how much tournament play do you think, or do I think I'll get in the future? I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on what I plan to do, if I plan to go back to SRL or not, honestly. I don't know. Kobox Gaming, I have two questions. Would you ever take any requests to play with us? Maybe in the future. I don't know. I'm not really, like I said, I have a max friends already, so I'd have to have like I'd have to do it on an alt account if I wanted to add a bunch of people and play. I may do that in the future, but I don't know. As an Octobrush main myself, I was wondering, would you start an analysis series? I actually plan to make a guide at some point. I went and worked with another Octobrush main in the community to help me cover the Octobrush Nouveau since I didn't use it. And at some point I'm going to actually go through and make a guide about it, a whole in-depth guide. I started recording some stuff, but because of a hard drive failure I've lost everything now, so I'd have to redo all of that. So it was close to being a thing, but now it's going to take a bit longer. Luke King, got any tips for managing a team? Not really. I'm not the manager of SRL or anything. I don't I kind of don't own a team at all, so I have no I don't know what to say, or like I've got no tips honestly. The most I've done for SRL is handle the Twitter account. So if you see like tweets coming from that account, it's most likely me. But other than that, I have no idea. Inksploder, how did you join SRL? Well, I originally wanted to play in competitive tournaments, and then the people I played with who later became SRL showed no signs of wanting to join. So that's when I started going for other teams, and I applied for a bunch of teams, applied as an S+ Octobrush, and then people started laughing at it, saying that an Octobrush isn't a real weapon. And then it wasn't until I met Cody at 8-Bit Squids who was actually excited to see something unique like that. And he was the one who gave me the opportunity to join his team. But I was only on there for like a few days because the tournament we were going to enter that weekend, everyone, like a couple of people, Tudos, Toful, Shadow, all decided they wanted to play in a tournament to beat us. And so I decided that I wanted to play with them and not just some people that I had just met. So I ended up joining SRL. Mr. Pickle Knots says, "What are your thoughts on being able to throw to the burst bomb patch?" I guess what do I think of all the burst bomb changes? I've never really been one to use burst bombs. The only weapon I've gotten into recently that uses it is Neo Splash and Carbon. I've been messing with a bit, but I never really heavily relied on the use of burst bombs, so I'm not really affected by it. I guess the people that heavily rely on it, like the people that you see now that are stacking like millions of Inksaber sub, are the people that heavily rely on that crap to play for them, but I have no idea. I've never really relied on them, so. Chris asks, what's your favorite ability? What is your favorite weapon and ability? My favorite weapon is the Octobrush by far, and my favorite ability is probably, actually, it's a toss-up between Swim Speed and Tenacity, actually. I really like Tenacity. Coke Mass, are you salty for choosing Kali? Nope. Sorry to tell you, I'm not salty. I don't know why people would think that. I don't really care about the whole one side or the other. I just chose which one. I just chose one. I don't care. What is your favorite map in Splatoon? Asked by DatBoy21. My favorite map is Camp Triggerfish by far. One of the best maps in the game. My second best, because I'm pretty sure someone's going to ask that. I like Flounder Heights after that. Jason Drum asks, can you rank all the weapons? What are the essential types of weapons in competitive play? I can't rank the weapons because one thing that Splatoon isn't like a fighting game. There isn't like a set tier list that you can have because the weapons have weaknesses and strengths that can help or hinder other weapons in the game. It's more of a team comp that makes up everything. Weapons themselves aren't really like a weapon tier list. Wouldn't mean much if the whole game is based on having 4 different weapons or a team of weapons. So where the one weapon may be considered bad on its own, working with other weapons that help cover its weaknesses can make it seem good. So there isn't really a tier list to that, and I don't feel like there should ever be one. What are the essential types of weapons? Once again, it's kind of dependent. A lot of teams switch out weapons and have like different comps for maps and mode. I guess one of the only mainstays of a team would probably be a charger, so an E-leader or anything like that. I guess that's pretty much the only like mainstay of any team comp. XXX insert name here. What do you think Nintendo should do for the final update? I'd really like just the ability to switch between the night and day mode of every map on the fly, not just to do it to the plaza with the new amiibo. I'd like to do it on the maps. And then as for anything else, I'm not really sure. I've never actually thought about what I wanted more from the game. I guess only like the ability to change the night and day. That would be pretty cool. A lot of maps look a lot better at night than they do at day. Hello, hi, how did you get into Splatoon? Well, around the time that the game was announced, I immediately got hooked and I was interested. And then I started talking with a bunch of other speedrunners who were also interested in the game. And then after the final global test fire, the only one I was able to play, a friend of mine contacted me on Skype, offering to get me a copy of the game. So the day the game came out, he sent me a download code for the game, and so that's how I got it. And then from there, I just I just played. I got into it because I was interested, and then my friends wanted to play, and then someone was kind enough to get it for me. Michael Peak, do you hack your gear? Yes, I did. Like I mentioned earlier, I tested Splat hacks before it came out, so I was, going to obviously have to modify some stuff to help make sure that it worked and wasn't going to corrupt anything. Why did you choose Team Cali? Because that was, to be completely honest, a lot of people on SRL were freaking out, saying that if you choose Cali, that you're like cancer, you're terrible. So I decided I wanted to choose her. I don't know. I found it funny. If you're gonna make a weapon in Splatoon, what would it be named? What would its sub and special be? Asked by Marcio. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. There was a fake leak a while back for a weapon called the Banana Octobrush. It had Disruptor and Echolocator, and that is what I would want. I wanted that to be true so badly, but unfortunately, Nintendo let me down, and whoever made that leak made me so excited for something that wasn't real. But that would be what I'd want. If you change your region in your Wii U settings, will you lose your data? No. You can't actually change your region because the Wii U is region locked. So if, like, I'm in North America, so if I change to say I'm in Canada, that won't change anything about my data. So, no, you will not lose your data if you change anything about that. Yoshi Dragon asks, what are your thoughts on the Carbon Deco? Is it viable compared to the vanilla? The reason that the vanilla is so viable because of burst bombs and Ingzuka. The Deco has Seekers, which are often considered to be one of the more useless subs, and then its special is a bomb rush of that. It would take a lot of work to make that thing be considered viable. It's really good for some maps with Rainmaker, like Port Mackerel and Camp Triggerfish. That's a really good alternative to the Carbon, the vanilla one. But compared to the vanilla, it's probably not going to be as viable, and I don't see it being viable outside of Rainmaker, to be completely honest. And then Kaku Logo asks, how do you become a part of the competitive Splatoon scene and be a part of a team? Well, how I did it is I went to squidboards.com, which has more or less become kind of a joke in the community. But the fact of the reality of it is that a lot of people still go to that site, and a lot of teams still start from that site. So if you're interested, I would suggest going to squidboards.com. A link will be in the description for this, and you can go check out that site. And there's lots of forums, and a lot of teams meet there, and that's where a lot of the discussion happens, at least in the Western community. So yeah, that's pretty much all the questions that I had. If you asked a question and wasn't answered here, that means it was probably already asked, and I try to avoid repeats as much as possible. So that is it. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you everyone for asking questions. As things change and more things happen, like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the future. I will keep people updated on what I do. I will continue to make content for some time. So I'm not gonna, like, even if I stop playing for SRL, I'm not gonna just stop making content. I'm probably still gonna do that. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone, and I will see you all later.